Today, the SPVM and the SQ joined forces to strike a major blow against organized crime. This is one of the most significant police operations in recent decades. We arrested 11 suspects as part of the major joint investigation launched 3 years ago, Project Alliance.
This is a major blow. 3 different factions were attained, not just the Italian mafia. So it's going to be a significant blow. However, we're very lucid, and we know that we have to respond to the different organizations that are going to take that place. And we've seen it in the past. There has been big investigations in the past, and organized crime adapts to the police techniques. So we're already on the ground, and we're already anticipating what's coming, and we're going to be ready to face it, like we have done in this case and all the other cases.
All right, you heard there from the officers talking about that major raid yesterday. You heard first from the SPVM, and after that, the Sûreté Québec about Rizzuto's arrest, among others. They talked about that major police sweep across Quebec. It has led to multiple arrests linked to organized crime, including prominent figures from the Montreal Mafia and the Hells Angels. Police arrested 11 suspects and seized various quantities of illicit drugs, also firearms. After, as you heard, they described it as a major operation. And you may have heard of this in the news too, targeting the alleged extortion of local restaurants, which we've been hearing about for a while. Nearly 150 officers took part in early morning raids, and they're calling it a major blow. So, I mean, could this finally be the beginning of the end for organized crime in the province? Pietro Poletti is a retired Montreal Police detective and mafia expert, and he joins us on the line. Good morning.
Good morning, Sue.
So 11 suspects arrested. Who are some of the more prominent people?
Well, I think the most prominent that there's the member of the Hells Angels, Leonardo Rizzuto. The rest are major players also, but I would say it's a small faction of the organized crime in Montreal. We're talking about 11 suspects. What's really interesting about this case is the turncoat.
Yes.
And this all came about because of Frederick Silva.
Mm-hmm.
Was a hitman for the mafia and the Hells. He was servicing both clans.
Okay,
right
so
now the arrest, yes.
No, so I want to sort of dig down on that. So can you tell me what role did Frederick Silva play? Because from what I read, it was basically like after 3 years after his arrest, he decided to cooperate. What do we know about Frederick De Silva? Not De Silva.
Well,
Silva.
he was hired help. The mafia hired him and the Hells Angels to commit murders and attempted murders. And he was also, or from his prison, where he was being detained from prison, he was ordering also, with his accomplices, homicides and attempted homicides. So the police have to corroborate all that evidence, which is a huge task. A huge task. It's his sayings, basically, that they proceeded with the arrest and certain, obviously, the search warrants that were executed a year ago or 2 years ago with the other evidence that was gathered. But, it's not over yet. This is going to be a very interesting trial. If they don't plead guilty, if they go to trial, it's going to be very, very interesting. We might get surprises.
I don't doubt we'll get surprises. But so, I mean, could you make the link then between that? Because they're saying the operation started because they were targeting the alleged extortion of local restaurants. But from what you're suggesting, it's been going on a lot before that, and there's much more at stake than extortion. Not that extortion is nothing.
No, I think the bulk of the investigation was based on the declarations made by Mr. Silva.
About murders.
About the murders committed and his participation with organized crime. And this will see most of the charges are going to be with the attempted murder and the extortion, of course, but the major part of the investigation is based on murders that were ordered by the mafia and the Hells Angels, and so it's gonna be an interesting. It is one of the. It's a major blow. I wouldn't say it's as big as Projet Colisée, but it's a major blow in for the Montreal region.
Well, it's funny you mentioned Projet Colisée because I feel like after all of these raids, the police say, we're cutting off organized crime, but it seems to live on.
No.
Yeah, no?
No, I mean, there's a small void. Presently, there's a small void in organized crime in Montreal, but there's other groups of traditional organized crime and Hells Angels. No, it's on the contrary, we're probably going to see more violence because of this fight. Other groups will try to take over, or what may happen is witnesses may be in danger. People that will be corroborating the evidence, they'll disappear.
Yeah.
So it's going to be there will be a lot of activity in the city and around the city in the metropolitan area, and even outside the province, based on these arrests.
So the name Rizzuto, of course, we've heard that name for, I'm going to say, decades in this city. Is he the last of the Rizzutos? Has that family been finally brought to heel?
Yes, he's the last of the siblings. Well, they have a sister, but there's other members. They had created an empire, and empires just don't disappear. Somebody's got to maintain the finances and all the investments and everything they have made. So, yes, maybe publicly as a figure, it's pretty much the end. He didn't have or does not have the experience his grandfather and brother and father had. He was basically out of the family for many years. He was studying. So he wouldn't be your typical in comparison to the others that were arrested. He's a person that's educated. So we might see a void. There's definitely a void, but I mean, is it a major blow? No. Organized crime has extensions internationally and nationally. We haven't touched too much in the interior factions of organized crime, so it's basically a local operation which focused on the sayings of Mr. Frederick Silva, and like I sang their sayings, his credibility will be tested by the defense lawyers, and I think we might have a few surprises. And our experience in organized crime in Quebec is relatively recent. It's maybe 50 years, 40 years. So it's really a stepping stone to future education for the police departments and outcomes. Every time there's mass arrests, initially it's glamorous and everything, but it gets complicated as the trial goes on.
The other thing that I find complicated, and they mentioned it in that press conference about the three major organizations. So we've got the mafia, we've got the Hells. What are the others?
Well, there's three gangs, of course, and there's right now in Montreal, organized crime, the traditional organized crime, and I hate to use the mafia because it's been used loosely. Clans, there's a lot of clans in Montreal. Okay. Yes, have Italian origin. Yes, there were mafia, but it was, not really linked to the corporate mafia, the huge mafia that's operating worldwide.
Right.
So what's dangerous for the public, the general public, is small clans like the arrested. These individuals, street gangs, bikers, the new generation of bikers. There's conflicts also within organizations, generational gaps. So for the public, these thugs that were taken out, that were arrested. It's a great thing they did. But to say that it's a major blow to traditional organized crime, the mafia, which operates worldwide, like the Ndrangheta, the Calabrian mafia, is overly exaggerated.
All right. Well, we'll leave it on that somewhat disappointing note. Mr. Poletti, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a nice week.
You too.
Thank you.
That is Pietro Poletti. He's a retired Montreal Police detective and, mafia expert. But as he says, he doesn't like to use, that's a tired term. We've got to use the clans, the Italian clans. And looks like they're not even touching the new generation.